There we go.
Welcome back, everybody. The 2024 NFL free agency has officially opened as the new league year has started today. We've seen plenty of moves. We've seen a lot of things we were already expecting. We've seen so far one guy change his mind, flip between the 49ers over to my Cowboys. We've got a lot of things to speak on today. This is the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I'm Zappy. Up in the top right corner is my boy Idris. Down over in not
South Carolina,
not south, not east, not west. No. Over in North Carolina.
Yeah.
There in UNC Asheville area.
Yeah, the home of the Longwood Lancers beat the UNCA Bulldogs. Right. Beat them badly too.
Yeah, I'm excited about today, man. We've had a lot of obviously the free agency moves we've been expecting, seeing everything finally become official. The things are starting to become clearer. Looks like Justin Fields might not be going anywhere. We have some baseball talk as well. We news about Garrett Cole, had a big trade today with Dylan Cease, and we still have Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery unsigned, and we are 15 days away from the start of baseball. So, there we go. I guess we'll go ahead and start there. So, you saw me earlier today, guys, over the last couple of years with Dan Quinn. There he is. And there's our host right there, Mr. Richie Hicks.
How we doing, guys?
We all right. Just
my boys finally made a move.
Yeah, good move too. Good move.
That's gonna be the norm.
Jen's in the building. What's up, Jen? Long time no see.
All right, boys. The tampering accusation, I can't wait for that one. We're gonna hit on that towards the end. Gonna hit on the NBA approaching the final stretch. I'm going to ask for about 3 minutes towards the end for my final thought, but I was thinking a pretty good starting point here could be the events going on and the trend going on within a matter of 48 hours. You have two franchise leading identifiable players with their respective fan bases just dip-setting and going to the rivals. We obviously covered Saquon Barkley the other day. I'm going to leave a little time towards the end because Idris was not on that show with us. But how about Patrick Queen going out to the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys?
I think
the king has arrived. The queen has
the king has arrived. Right. Ain't that something?
It's for the Steelers. Go ahead, Idris.
No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, for the Steelers, this was a major need. They needed a middle linebacker to go out there to pair with Alex Highsmith and, of course, Watt. That was one of their biggest Achilles heels last year, and now bringing in a guy like Patrick Queen helps solidify an already good.
Uh-oh. I think Zappy froze on us. I guess I'll continue what he was going to say.
It's not so much that he freezes; it's the face that is made.
He's back. His audio's back. All right, there we go.
So I was saying, I don't know what's the last thing you said, but I was saying, this is was a major need for Pittsburgh in that defense. They still need to go out and find someone to replace Cam Hayward. That's a humongous loss for them, but bringing in a Patrick Queen to team up with Alex Highsmith, Minka Fitzpatrick, and of course TJ Watt is going to go a long way. And then not to mention the fact that they also added Russell Wilson to their offense, and that was their biggest need last year. This move, I mean, I said Saquon was a slap in the face. I think this is a bigger slap in the face, just because when I look at compare the Eagles and Giants versus the Steelers and Ravens, the Steelers and Ravens has been about the media for the last 20 years or so. Where the Eagles and Giants has kind of been, it's hit or miss, especially with Eagles having won so many in a row up until the last year. Yeah. But I think this was a great acquisition for the Steelers personally.
I think they're going to need him because being that Baltimore got King Henry, you're going to need somebody who's going to plug up that middle when Henry comes running downhill. So I think that's a good pickup. It's just going to rekindle that Baltimore-Pittsburgh rivalry that's been going back since Baltimore left Cleveland. Well, since Cleveland left Baltimore. But yeah, Baltimore left Cleveland. Golly, I messed up. I think about the Colts too. They're gonna need that. Yeah, but losing Cam Hayward, yeah, they're still gonna have to plug that hole. But Queen coming in, you got someone who's gonna plug up the middle. King Henry's coming. You know, he's coming, and you still got Action Jackson.
Yeah, they're in position now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I love about it is now for Pittsburgh, did I freeze?
No, you're good.
No, you're good. Your voice is still going.
I was saying, what I care about, what entices me about Pittsburgh is now they can go into the draft. A guy like, what's his name, Powers Austin, or from the center from Oregon. Yeah. That's a guy that now they can go get, solidify their offensive line, and watch out. I mean, this is a team that has had a history of Pouncey, Dermontti Dawson. They have had a history of great centers, and if you go get him, I mean, that's another guy on the list for them. This team is ready to. They're not going to just bend over backwards to the Ravens and Bengals next year. They're going to be in there fighting the whole way.
I think with the addition of both sides, my bad.
No.
Both teams with Queen and with King Henry, I think Casey's going to have a tough way to get to a three-peat this year.
Yeah, the North is going to definitely challenge the Chiefs' attempt at a three-peat. Yeah. The biggest thing that I love about the Henry addition for that organization, okay, so you release Odell Beckham Jr. today. They very well are going to be in the market, possibly in the draft, looking for a slot man, or basically somebody that they feel more comfortable with as a number two. Zay Flowers is an emerging star. But what King Henry brings is that he is the gatekeeper to putting games away. Yeah. Where in the past, going back even 2 years ago, 2022, the Baltimore Ravens struggled putting people away. Yep. And I don't believe that that's going to be a problem this year. And the beautiful thing about him is that he could also shorten the game. Ravens have a very good offensive line. And, I mean, you take away the Zay Flowers penalty, yes, they were out-coached. We're not going to dispute that. But the reality is
the fumble, too.
The fumble killed them. But, I mean, you're talking literally 3 plays. The Ravens might very well win that game. And while I wasn't surprised that the Chiefs won because I actually did pick them that week, after they beat Buffalo, and when I had picked Buffalo, I did not pick against the Chiefs a second consecutive week. But talent-based standpoint, pre-draft, this Baltimore team has to be my pick to pose the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs. But I really like what the Steelers are trying to do because Zappy already said it. Historically, how they always have been able to have not just the best centers for what they do, but also the 2 guys next to the centers, interior linemen in general. And, I say to myself, if Mike Tomlin was able to accomplish what he did last year with all the issues at the quarterback position, people love to make fun of the ridiculous dead money hit on the Russell Wilson contract. But when you look at the back of the trading card, Russell Wilson had a very good season last year.
He did.
By all metrics, with a very incomplete Denver offense.
Well, not to mention, I'm pretty positive that 70 points was not scored on Russ.
Right. I think that's a fair statement, yes.
So just some food for thought. That Broncos defense was one of the worst for a little while. And, I mean, when you're giving up 70 points, that's not.
I mean, buddy, you're talking about a team that in a must-have game in Mile High allowed a broken Patriot offense to put themselves in position to win the game. Now, granted, that wasn't exactly the best 3-play sequence of Russell's season, but he also wasn't calling the plays. And when I saw the play call selection and how they were trying to hit an immediate home run, I'm like, guys, you're acting like Patrick Mahomes is on the other sideline right now and not Bailey Zappi. Like, what are you boys doing right now?
And you know what? Also with that, him being in Pittsburgh, I think in Denver he had that pressure. He had the pressure of his coach on him. He had the pressure of the team. Like, this guy, we don't like him because he had his own part. He had a lot of pressure there. Media didn't like him. Team didn't like him. The coach definitely didn't like him. To win Pittsburgh, he's not going to have that pressure because people already think he's past his prime. They just need him to go in there and play quarterback. He don't have to be Russell of the Super Bowl years, of the Legion of Boom years. He need to be Russell. He need to be a Russell Wilson that's better than Kenny Pickett. Better than.
He just got to be last year, and he'll be good.
That's it. Just be last year.
Yeah.
That's it. Just be last year.
I mean,
this is a Steelers team that. Yeah. This is a Steelers team that made the playoffs with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph, and I mean, a litany of quarterbacks.
And Trubisky,
Trubisky, yeah. You throw in Russ, who, he might have be out of his prime. He's still better than the three of those guys combined.
And he got a running game now. And a good receiver. Good receiver, too.
Yeah, Warren's going to continue to be more and more involved in that offense, balancing it out to really a 50-50 snap share with Najee Harris. So I like what I see there through and through. And as I already stated, this arrival of King Henry, I legitimately think makes the Baltimore Ravens the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs repeat. Yes,
that option is going to be woo.
And you already know that you're going to get
Dobbins is coming back.
That awkward red zone little dink pass. You're going to see at least two of those this year from King Henry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know that. Oh yeah.
Did you just say they're bringing back J.K. Dobbins?
Dobbins is gone.
I know he's a free agent right now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a free agent. No. He's a free agent. That was a big reason why they had to go out and get a running back, because not only did they lose Gus Edwards, but J.K. is a free agent. But J.K. is often injured, so it's not like you're really losing much with him.
I would not be surprised if they bring him back for the sheer fact that it still was an investment that they want to see if it ever could work. So, but the two times to the same extremity, that is a tough one. To bring back. And talking about bringing back, Dan Quinn finally gets Bobby Wagner. But for a Dallas Cowboys rival, the Cowboys finally make a move as well, bringing in Kendricks, which I also really liked. But Zappy's been high on the Commanders last couple of years. His trajectory's been off with them, but he has said most recently that he feels this could be the year that the Commanders actually are a factor in this NFC East division. I got to see it to believe it, because it goes without saying, they got to address quarterback, and they had the worst offensive line in the league last year. I don't really think anyone was worse than them. And mind you, I'm a Giant fan, and I watched all Giant games, and I'm still confidently saying that the Washington Commanders had a worse offensive line than the Giants. That's saying something. But Dan Quinn, Bobby Wagner connection, this is a guy that has Dan Quinn written all over him. This is a guy that Dan Quinn wanted. Zappy will go a mile long on that, because, I remember like a year or so ago, Zappy and I were sitting talking about this on the air, and we both were very convinced that Wagner was ultimately going to make his way to Dallas.
Had he went to Dallas, Green Bay doesn't beat Dallas.
Maybe not.
Yeah, that's why we went out and got Hendricks.
Yeah, obviously that hole.
Yeah, that's been our biggest Achilles.
He's clogging that hole for one thing, and he's making these guys better out there. He's got that cerebral thing going.
It's huge for Micah Parsons, and especially with what's about to be a retirement announcement by Leighton Vander Esch. Everyone knows it's coming. It's just a matter of when he actually announces it.
It's a shame, too.
But
he just can't stay healthy, man.
No, he can't stay healthy. He was having an All-Pro year last year up until he got hurt. And I look at. I'm happy about Kendricks because of the ties he has with Zimmer. That's important. And we still need a big hog molly up there, a Gilbert Brown type player to stop the run in the defensive tackle position. But
Gilbert Brown was like 3 hog mollies in one.
Like 3 of them,
right? But DJ Reader's still out there. Will we get him? Probably not. But as far as Dan Quinn goes with Bobby Wagner, it was a move I was expecting just simply because he was out there. Dan wanted him the last 2 years while he was in Dallas. Dan and now they're back together again. And not to mention,
Yeah.
that's a huge boost for their locker room altogether. And we're talking about a friend.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
No, I took him out because I was going to start raining through. Let me see if I add him back and if he is back.
I think he's still frozen. He's still frozen. Yeah, well, basically,
one of the last things.
Yeah, I'm going to kick him and have him come back.
Yeah, I agree with what Zappy was saying. He's up here. Dan Quinn went on him for the longest. He knows Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn knows him. They know what they expect out of each other. We know what Dan Quinn can do on defense. And Dan Quinn didn't have that type of play in Dallas. Now he has the type of play that he needed in Dallas to stop the run, to clog the run, to get fill up the middle. So I think with Washington and Dan Quinn just pillaging through the Cowboys, man, whew.
But let me ask you, how many years do you think Bobby Wagner still has left in order, I guess what I'm saying, to still be elite?
I give him 2 more years.
Mm-hmm.
He's because he looked pretty decent last year. I give him 2 more years. And I think he'll be more of a mentor this year, but I think he'll still be that. I still think he'll be a guy in the middle that you got to be like, okay, we got to watch out for this guy.
Yeah, because he left the Seahawks for a year, went to the Rams, who were the defending champions, and everything went wrong for the Rams in their title defense that year due to injuries all over the board. And I think that, I know, the Rams are the worst defending champion since the Denver Broncos after Elway went back-to-back and retired.
Yeah, they just fell apart, dude.
Yeah, because this is an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah.
You got the Kansas City Chiefs coming into the year. It's very rare when a team has the opportunity to three-peat. Let's say that right now. Very rare when a team has the opportunity to do that. New England Patriots in the early 2000s had a chance to do that. The Dallas Cowboys in the mid-90s, San Francisco 49ers in the first year of the 90s had an opportunity to three-peat. Yeah. So it doesn't happen often, but what's interesting, and the reason I mentioned this, is because John Elway walked away from the game, not even attempting the three-peat. But you're talking, this was like the literal end of his career.
Yeah, yeah.
But, looking at history and legacies and how everything's remembered, I do wonder if Elway occasionally looks at what's happening now and like, damn, I should have ran it back one last year.
One last year, yeah.
He
had the running game. He had a running game. He had a receiver. He had the tight end. He had the defense.
Yeah, they just didn't have the quarterback situation in any way, shape, or form healthy.
Yeah.
And that was the issue in a nutshell there. The association approaching the final stretch. Idris, your thoughts on what you're looking for? I guess without saying, you know what the defending world champion Denver Nuggets are bringing. You know that the Boston Celtics are more than likely the best team in the NBA. Who do you see as legitimate threats in either conference to make sure that NBA Finals doesn't happen?
Definitely in the West, I got to go with the Wolves.
I would think the Wolves, from a talent level, could hang. Yes.
Okay. It's just going to be up here. Is it going to be like Memphis, where the moment is too big for them? That's the thing. In the East, I don't want to sound like a homer, but I'm gonna go with my Knicks, man. 13-2 when OG's playing, man. So,
and he just came back, thankfully.
Yeah,
it was funny because we had an embarrassing loss in the first half of a back-to-back to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah.
I believe the final was, 79, 74, 78?
It was.
We play them 2 nights later, and we hold them to 79. But that was OG's first game back, so at least he's back. I really hope, really hope that we're going to be able to get back Randall in time, because I do believe that him so much as being on the roster is the difference.
Yeah.
If they're going to have a chance to be that team to even have a crack, because the injuries, if they did anything, I don't necessarily. If you get Randall back in time, I don't necessarily think that it kills the Knicks' trajectory.
I don't think so either.
But it hurt them in the sense of not being able to chase down a potential 3 or a 2. in seeding, and that could come back to bite as well because, it's quite the gauntlet at the top. I mean, I think it's fair to say that the East is top heavy. The Indiana Pacers intrigue me because of the fact that I think that on any given night, they could run the gym with anybody. And in the playoffs, that does hold value even for a lower seeded team. I don't have any faith in the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't care what their record is.
They got to beat the Knicks first, man.
I don't believe in them. I don't.
You can't beat the Knicks, no.
But out West, I mean, shoot, we said this in a previous show. If Golden State is able to, play their brand of basketball and have everybody – no, you'd be foolish to. It would be very foolish because, quite frankly, Steve Kerr and what he brings, I mean, who are we going to put in his class of current coaches? I guess Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah, I'm not counting Golden State out for nothing. I don't care how they play up and down. I'm not counting them out. Because long Steph is on his game and everyone's playing the game. Even Clay starting to play a little better. Draymond is not acting like a knucklehead anymore. I'm not counting Golden State out. They may not win a championship, but I'm not counting them out.
But season-long ding-ups, rest minutes, things of that nature. I said this on a previous show. The Golden State Warriors do not necessarily need to have home court advantage to make a deep playoff run. They just got to be able to beat you on your home floor once while maintaining what they do, which is very possible at home, especially in the playoffs.
It's a whole different game. Yeah.
They're different teams in the playoffs.
They're a different team, but honestly, watching them, man, I mean, they don't match up well against Denver, and we see Denver is now in the 1 seed in the West. They don't really match up well against Minnesota or OKC. I mean, yeah, they're going to be a threat, but I think they're – of course, it comes down to matchups. Right now, they're playing the Lakers and the play-in, and then after that, they'd be playing – if they win, they'd be playing the winner of the Kings or Mavericks. The Kings, to me, will get them. The Mavericks will not.
Yeah, I don't have any faith in the Mavs either.
Hey, well, Luka's streak came to an end tonight, finally.
Yeah. This is the thing with the Mavs, and some fans might get annoyed with me. I'm not going to question the phenomenal season that Luka's having, and I'm also not going to question that he and Kyrie are proving that in their second go-around, they are playing much better basketball together. But I'm not sold on them because, as silly as this sounds, look at some of the trajectory of the games they played this year. They have been very fortunate as to when they play teams. Yeah. A lot of their quality wins this year have come when some of the teams that they're playing have been very dinged up. And I'm not going to say that that's an indictment of what they do because you play who's on their schedule and when they're playing them. They don't have any control over that. But after what happened last year with the Kings and the Warriors, that would be fun to see those two get it on again because that was such a phenomenal series where 5, 6, and 7 were all won by the road team, which was really, nobody saw that coming. And I think the Kings are one of those teams, I was saying similar to Indiana in the East, that they can surprise a couple of people that are not supposed to have early exits. That's all. That's what I'm going to say right there.
Yeah. I agree.
All right.
I got it again. Okay. You just got that.
I know I purposely did that. Hey, I didn't really get to speak on it. I know I'm rewinding a little bit, but this whole thing that's going on in Philadelphia, I think it's interesting because
the tampering.
Yeah, the tampering deal.
Oh no, you're not rewinding. It's next time.
Yeah.
I thought we hit. I thought you guys spoke about it. Okay. All right. Well, go ahead, Richie. Bring us in.
Start it off, man. Start it off.
Okay.
So obviously, we go for it, Richie.
Unless you live under a rock, you know that Saquon Barkley left the New York Giants, went to the hated Philadelphia Eagles. Mm-hmm. If you hate the Giants, Saquon Barkley joined the Eagles, leaving the hated New York Giants. The point is, the New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles, second oldest rivalry, pro football, 1933, Yeah. There's other stuff that I'm going to hit on a final thought about towards the end. But all I'm going to say is this. His former coach at Penn State basically gave him up without even realizing he was giving up because he was just talking.
Yep.
And he flat out said with the phone conversations with Howie and Saquon, specifically name dropping both of them. And you're not supposed to speak directly to a player unless if that player is acting as his own agent.
Right.
And that is what happened here.
Right.
So we'll see how it plays out. But I'll be honest with you. I don't necessarily think that the Giants are going to do a backflip over it either way. And it's already kind of been being looked at as the Giants are not going to worry overly what the league decides to do. Because the only thing that matters is the court of public opinion. But I will say this. You're talking about some draft picks here, and it could be a steep penalty. Mm-hmm. So when I consider that you already overpaid an often injured 27-year-old running back, if it's also going to cost you picks because you were douching and hoeing out on us,
yep.
Good. Sorry, Zap. Go ahead.
It's not costing him picks. That's
go get the bag, Saquon.
Mm-hmm.
Go get it. It's done. It's done. Go get it. But yeah,
I'd have to look to see what it was. But I have to. The teams in the past that have been penalized draft picks. The Dolphins were penalized because of the whole tampering with Sean Payton and Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. Was it a first round or was it third? I can't remember exactly. But this is the level that we're looking at. And for an Eagles team that is clearly going all in on this season, but you don't have not having that first round pick is something that could set you back because they already traded their first round pick mm-hmm. back in 2022 yep. for the likes of AJ Brown. So mm-hmm. We're talking about future assets here and. I'm not going to say, oh, my God, blah, 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 because I know it happens.
Of course it happens.
But
it would be impossible in the offseason to monitor where everybody is because, what are you going to put ankle bracelets and GPS locations on all these people?
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Everyone does it. It's just you messed up when you get caught.
That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
I would love to I just want it to be proven true.
Me too.
Because I'm just going to say this. I watched the Kay Adams interview with Saquon Barkley mm-hmm. before the show today. Kind of just revisiting Saquon's mind and his mannerisms and the way he was giving his answers. Basically. And while he spoke very highly of what he already knew was going to be his former Giant teammate, speaking very highly, I will say this, and I respect Saquon for one thing here. He did speak very highly of Daniel Jones and said, a lot of people have a lot of negative opinions about him, but nobody knows more about how hard he works than me. And Saquon had a legitimate empathy because it was the same injury, similarly to what derailed mm-hmm. Saquon's career back in 20. And he flat out said it. He said, when the game you love gets taken away from you, it makes you appreciate the game you love more. He said, so as much as the tabloids want to burn Danny, don't count him out just yet. While I have minimal worries and thoughts about what his opinion of Danny Dimes is or what he thinks, I still know my team's going in a different direction. He spoke highly of Tommy DeVito, spoke highly of his teammates in general, but it was just that very casual vibe where he kind of painted the picture that it was anybody but the Giants without actually saying it in a negative manner. Because, we're all prone to overreacting emotionally when something like that happens, myself included. But this is the thing. When you go on a show just a year ago, right before you reported back to camp, all pissed off, mm-hmm. and that weird-looking 04 Kanye Polo, all he needed was that, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. So I'm like, this is weird.
That was ugly, too.
Yeah, it was terrible. So I was like, I don't know what's happening here. But he was like, I could have been like, fuck the Giants.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, as much as you get aggravated about that you didn't get the long-term deal.
Yeah.
The fucking franchise tag is still above market value.
And they gave him more on the side with the franchise. But I got a question for both of
Well,
y'all.
it was incentive-based. He didn't hit his incentives because why?
Yeah.
It always gets hurt.
I got a question for both of y'all. Hypothetical question.
Yeah.
Let's just say the Giants draft a quarterback this year.
Okay.
And Daniel Jones comes in, hypothetically speaking, because we know it ain't going to happen. I hope it do. Daniel Jones comes in.
You trade him.
No. Let me Zappy. Damn you, Zappy. He gets us to the playoffs as far as the NFC Championship. I already know what Zappy gonna do. Do you keep him another year, or do you trade him?
You trade him because you have to because you drafted a guy to replace him, and we've seen it with an Alex Smith, for example. He did well with the Chiefs, but they didn't feel like it was enough. Alex Smith still went on to another team, to the Washington, and won the division.
Alex has always been that guy. He took the 49ers to a title game and got replaced.
I'm going to tell you why I asked this question, y'all. Because, of course, it's our fan base, our dumb fan base. Somebody said, what if we draft a quarterback and Daniel Jones take us to the NFC Championship?
The quarterback is on a rookie deal, and you fucking trade him.
He's like, well, maybe we can trade that when we draft it and keep Daniel Jones. I was like,
no, that's not.
That's what I did, Richie. I was like this.
No, you the easy answer, you don't spend the number, or you don't draft someone at number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up until about 15 to not start them, at least by their second year. Right. And in the quarterback cases, most of the times we're seeing quarterbacks step into the starting position by week 8. Yeah. And, if it is a case like that where you guys start off on, let's say 6-2, all right, well, the seat's obviously not hot on Daniel, but hey, let's keep going. And you guys make it that far. That's just going to help the New York Football Giants to know that they can go into the offseason and offer this guy to – there's going to be teams that need a quarterback because there's going to be teams that miss out on this year's quarterback and are going to say, hey, New York, we'll give you our first-round pick. Here's a guy that already got him to the playoffs. And, of course, New York's going to say, well, we want a first and a third or second. That's what happens. Whenever you get a bargaining chip like that, that is a great thing for a franchise, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. I mean, the perfect example is someone was drafted at number 3, and he started his second year, went down after his second game, and then Mr. Irrelevant eventually came in and took over that offense and was traded away for a 4th-round pick. If Trey Lance would have continued being the starter and gotten him to that position, Brock Purdy is never existing. So, yeah, that's an easy one where you trade Daniel Jones. If you can get him to improve his trade stock, great for the Giants.
This is what I told him. I said we trade him. I said, if we kept him, and he did the same thing the next year, I said I still wouldn't get rid of the guy we drafted. I said I would do him like we did Aaron Rodgers. I said, if we kept him, let this guy learn. I said, but we can't keep him, Pat. I said, this is the year we can get out of our contract with him. I said, you got to trade him. You built his stock up. You're able to get us a good draft pick. Do it before he gets hurt the next year. Then he's not worth a damn.
This is my. I got.
Our fans do it just like.
This is the thing. People don't think about anything that happened yesterday. This is my thing. Daniel Jones finally got competent coaching, goes into the playoffs, is the best player on offense in their playoff win against the Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
The whole entire Giant offense is stymied from jump. Their defense wasn't much better. We get our teeth kicked in by the rival Eagles.
Yep.
This is the thing. You don't pick up the 5th-year option, which made things more complicated. Hindsight's always 20/20. Right. But when you're a new regime coming in, and when this guy gets you that victory in the playoffs, you almost have to cave a little to what the market is dictating because this is a guy that already – you just won Coach of the Year. Yeah. You were 1 game shy of the NFC title game.
Right.
You can't forecast that the kid's going to tear his knee in mid-season in Vegas. That's not on the forecast, nor is on the forecast that on Monday Night Football, your all-pro offensive tackle is going to be sidelined for the better part of 10 weeks, and you're also going to get shut out at home by Zappy's Cowboys.
And our number one running back, who everyone's crying about,
a week later goes down for a month, and
the pass deflected off his hand, and it turns and goes in Bland's hand, and he takes it to a big 6.
And your hopeful acquisition that you acquired for a third rounder, a former Pro Bowl level player who's trying to get it back, had the year he had, which was terrible. And it's like the whole Saquon thing is this. The Giants gave him a very fair deal for the position that he plays.
Yeah.
He didn't take it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Zappy's freezing again.
Yeah, he froze this time.
Yeah. I had to kick him again. He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
All right. I got to read this. One of my 2 final thoughts before we move it along to baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Shouts out NFC Beast. Marcus Green, Philadelphia Eagles fan that I actually get along with quite well.
Yeah, he's a funny guy, man.
He sure is. I was basically replying to why Giant fans are mad. And now, granted, I gave a little bit of a lashing on this, and I'm going to also hit on Tiki versus Saquon because I want to put this to bed once and for all.
Yeah.
Tiki didn't miss games. He didn't disappear when he played the Eagles and Cowboys. I'm literally reading this word verbatim.
I know. Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
Yeah. People hate on Tiki because he spoke ill of Eli and Tom Coughlin.
Mm-hmm.
But as a Giant fan, I could say that early on, Eli's career, some veterans weren't the biggest supporters. The 2 main ones that stand out to me, Tiki Barber, Kerry Collins, and to take it back, those 2 particular players were Kerry Collins fans, because let's not lose sight of the fact, Shockey was in 02. Tiki went to a Super Bowl with Kerry Collins.
Mm-hmm.
They were some of Eli's biggest supporters, tracking it back to his draft day. Mm-hmm. Why was that? Eli's a Manning, and Eli kind of got royal treatment before he proved anything on an NFL field.
Mm-hmm.
When you come to New York and you demand that you will not play for San Diego, that comes with some hefty expectations.
Yep.
We know that Phillip Rivers got off to a better start. Eli earned his respect. The media made it a crime for the Giants' best player at the time, that being Tiki Barber, to voice an opinion. Mm-hmm. And they pitched it like he was a quitter. He was in his prime when he walked away from the game with minimal damage.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the Tiki being upset thing goes with Saquon, he's from an era where leaving a team to go to the greatest rival was looked at a lot different. Mm-hmm. He was also at Wellington Mara's side during his last days. Tiki is from an era where everything wasn't kumbaya, and being with your team meant something. Mm-hmm. I think what I find most comical, though, is given Barkley's history, talking about injuries, he might be around the same age when he's looking to be included to a team at the age of 30, whereas Tiki walked away from the game at age 31, still in his prime.
Yep.
1,800-yard years, 1,500-yard years, last 2 seasons of his career.
He's getting strong, man. He's getting stronger, dude.
In his prime. And this is the last bit that I talked to Marcus. Marcus Green, I'm literally reading the word for word. That's the thing that bothers me the most about our fans. That gets me upset more than any rival can. Yeah, we may be on rough times now, but at the end of the day, our owner's nickname is on every game-issued football. We have our fingerprints all over NFL and Super Bowl moments. These fans are acting like we lost Michael Strahan, Lawrence Taylor, or Harry Carson. There is no doubt in my mind that Saquon will help you guys, being the Eagles, have another crack at it and keep your window open, given the talent you have around him. But at the end of the day, our win-loss totals with him versus without him have not been substantially different. He and OBJ both lost a bunch, and our fan base was crying about OBJ too, as if the guy that we got in the trade for him via the draft, Dexter Lawrence, is not a perennial Pro Bowler. What has OBJ done since leaving Big Blue, with the exception of a phenomenal first half against the Rams? Win or lose, I've always grown up with the view of Giant fans as being classy, knowledgeable, and truly knowing the game. I don't know what to say about this new breed of fan, but they ain't it. Rant over on that. The fans' mindset I just can't vibe with. They are choosing a player who rarely won, was often injured, and went to our most hated rival, over a guy who statistically is our all-time best back, played in a Super Bowl, came up very short, but against the greatest defense in NFL history, unless if it's them, it's the 85 Bears, and always balled out against the Eagles and Cowboys. I'm still waiting for that Saquon signature game. I'm not going to see it in giant blue because he's playing against a team that plays Kelly Green. Maybe we'll see him have his signature game against Dallas. I guess we'll never see him have his signature game against the Philadelphia Eagles. I got no bad for Saquon. But when you're tripping out on the level that these fans are, and when you consider the mountains of history that we had before OBJ and Saquon even joined the organization, our standards in terms of what we deem as great and legendary has really plummeted.
To add to what you said with Tiki, when he said what he said, he's dead to me. I watched the interview, and this is how our society has changed. When I say something's dead to me, it's a dead issue.
Yeah,
I moved on. That's it. That's how I looked at it, and it looked more tongue in cheek than anything. He's dead to me. Dead issue. We moving on. Forget him. He went to the rival. That's how I feel. You could have went to Baltimore. You could have went to Houston. You could have went to the Chargers.
Yeah, Zachy said this recently. Yes.
You chose our closest rival. I said the same thing. I said, look at KD. Everyone gave KD hell when he went to Golden State. Everybody gave LeBron hell. And
he literally, and I worded that the day it happened.
But now he was complaining. It's like I was telling people, I said, it's just like you going to school with your best friend. Every day these kids beat you up. And you go to school the next day and you see that same kid that got beat up with you with the guys that beat you up.
Where this ended, Idris, truly, if we're going to track it back, where the marriage between Saquon Barkley and the New York Football Giants ended, similar to when the marriage with Odell Beckham Jr. and the New York Giants ended, is when you went on national television and you had to tell them how fucked up it was for you. Saquon had a better point because OBJ just inked a fucking $90 million deal when he was talking that shit.
Yeah.
At least in Saquon's case, he could say, man, get mad at the market, Saquon. Get mad at the way that the game is played today. But don't be a hypocrite because the way the game is played today is the reason why why a team would even think about overpaying you.
Right.
Because of the fact that it's a pass-happy, pass-first league where defenses are handicapped. Because with the exception of a very unfortunate turn in Chicago, 2 of your 3 major injuries, pal, have been minimal contact.
Right.
So you want to see why the Eagles overpaid? Obviously, we know the salary cap rose $30 million this offseason. Next year, it's projected right now to go up to $273 million. But, gentlemen, in 2026, once the new TV deals come into play, because I'm thinking to myself about the whole Dak Prescott situation. I know the re-signing is coming. Well, $273 million, but a year later, it's supposed to jump $110 million. In 2026 to 370.
But if you notice the way they manipulated it year one, it's similar to the way that Shohei did his thing.
Yeah.
And then, but check this: in 2027, it goes from 370 up to 540. No, I'm sorry, 588 in 2027. We're about to see some astronomical contracts. So, yeah, I get. Hey, he was overpaid, but was he really? Because you got to look at the percent of the cap.
Our issue is not so much the money. With the money, I don't care about the money. It's who he went to.
I don't even care about that because nobody else is going to. It's not even that for me. My issue is stop jerking us off about how your legacy means something. When a month ago, I just saw an interview that basically told me everything I needed to know that you were going to leave.
You were leaving.
You were leaving.
When you were saying I want to be a Giant for life, you were leaving.
But when he said I could have been like, fuck the Giants,
that told me everything I need to hear.
That's all you needed to hear. What were you going to do, Saquon? You were going to stay home and sit on your couch, or you were going to collect close to $11 million? Oh, sorry. It would have been a close to $11 million if you would have finished the fucking season for once.
Our return on OBJ, we didn't.
Jabril Peppers, but you have an all-pro nose tackle in Dexter Lawrence.
That's what I'm saying. Dexter Lawrence has showed up for work.
Absolutely.
He's shown up for work.
Garrett Cole, I want to hit on this, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm not going to be optimistic in any way, shape, or form. The New York Yankees cannot afford to lose him for the amount of time it looks like they're going to lose him for.
Mm-mm.
Because without Garrett Cole, the New York Yankees are literally flirting with 500 baseball, and that's even with the offensive additions, because let's not lose sight of the fact. In the offseason, the New York Yankees moved on from 4 pitchers. Now, granted, you bring in a Marcus Stroman, who I do actually think might have a nice year. Carlos Rodon, massive question mark. His mustache brother, Nestor Cortez, massive question mark.
Mr. Ness.
Clark Schmidt, I think he's going to pitch the most innings of his young career, and he's trending upward. Yeah. But you have other Scott Boras guys that are represented by him, in addition to Cole, who's right now looking at being shut down up to 2 months. It could be the season, guys. This is not a good thing. I think it's – yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say he's got more evaluations to come. It's worrisome. It's got to be worrisome. I find it very interesting, though, because here the news came out about Garrett Cole, and then immediately after that, we're hearing news about Dylan Cease. Mm-hmm. And obviously we saw he was traded earlier today to the San Diego Padres, but
he was linked all day to the Yankees. And when I saw the Padres,
he was linked to the Yankees and the Rangers.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is I saw what the Padres gave up, and I'm happy we didn't trade for him. But another Scott Boras guy. Well, that's what I find interesting about this whole situation is Dylan Cease, a Scott Boras guy, just got traded to San Diego, and yet we still have Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery 15 days away from the regular season, still without teams because Scott Boras is still trying to get the bag for these guys.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. But to lose,
tell them to be running backs. Apparently, it's okay to get paid now if you're a running back.
Scott Boras,
1993. Okay, my predictions. Not speaking for the guys, this is my predictions for the National League East. I've got the Braves in first at 101-61. I've got the Phillies at 91-71, fringe playoff team. Miami Marlins literally at 500. The Mets 4 under 500. The Nats in last at 69-33. I'm letting Zappy and Idris weigh in. All I'm going to say is this. If Ronald Acuna Jr. does not get injured, not only is he the best offensive player in this division, he is the best baseball player, period, in terms of just overall value at the way he steals bases. His defensive prowess and just the way that he's going to score runs. He's not going to win a home run title. He's going to be among the league leaders, meaning the top 12 to 15 in that category. But just as a full-faceted overall player, and when I think about what the Braves offer in a pitching rotation, I might be laughed at for saying this, but I have a feeling that I believe Chris Sale, of all people, at the back end of that rotation is in a great position to reclaim his career because there's not much left on it. You still have Max Fried. You still have the staff in general is phenomenal. You have an excellent closer. The Phillies are going to be a distant second. Nobody's questioning if the Braves have been a better team the last 2-3 years. The question is, can they beat the Philadelphia Phillies when it counts most? New York Mets, unless if they do something that I don't see coming at the midway point and really do some serious overhauling with the roster at making some big additions, I think they'll fall out of the wild card. Miami Marlins, I might be selling them a little short. but I got them dead even at 500. And the Nationals, not even worth talking about.
I go with everything. After the Mets, you know how I feel about the Mets, and without being a hater with the Mets, I don't even see them pushing for the wild card. I don't have any faith in them at all. Washington, they just don't have enough. Philly, I put them there. I think they'll win between 90 and 95 games. Atlanta, I think the division's theirs to lose. I mean, I don't see much.
I think it would take like all kinds of injuries and just worst type of things for them to be derailed. They're so deep.
But Miami
might win the Cy Young.
Yeah, with Miami, I think they'll be over 500. I think they'll get 85 games. But who knows? Because last year I just blew the freaking division, man.
Well, last year I think there was
yeah. Last year's but I think Miami will get 85. I think they'll be in the running for the wild card though. But as for Washington and the Mets, nah.
This is a weird division.
I don't think the Mets will win 79. I think they win 75. 70 to 75.
I've got the Mets winning 70 right now.
Yeah.
They need some. Yeah. They need some stuff. Washington, I know. I mean, 2 years ago they were a 100-loss team. Last year, that 70 or 83, I think it was, or something like that. It wasn't too bad last year.
Yeah.
Those teams, I'm not even going to bother saying much about. They're still building. Long way to go. Mets. What signs for the Mets this spring is Edwin Diaz looks like his old self. That's a positive. But this is spring training and not the real game yet. But it's always positive to see a guy out there that's coming back off of a rough injury to be pitching at a high level again. Now to the top.
I gotta rib you real quick, Zabby. With all of the issues with the in and out today, which is usually never happens. Did you change? This is a little cowboy ribbing. Did you change your provider to AT&T?
No, sir.
Good, man.
All right, you can carry on.
Probably.
My phone is through. No, but my fiber is through AT&T.
Oh yeah,
okay. My cell phone provider is through Verizon.
Verizon.
Okay.
It's all crappy. But so anyways, going back to the other three. No, Miami I think is going to be a better team. They were an 84-win team last year, got into the playoffs, and it's either going to be the NL East or the NL West that's going to get three teams in.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to say, Phillies and Braves are the shoo-ins. I think Miami will be that third team that gets in the playoffs. I see them, like I said, 85 wins as well, maybe 86. But I think Philly and Atlanta is it's a very interesting topic of conversation because while the Braves do have, Spencer Strider led the league in pitching last year in strikeouts. You get Max Fried back, and then you go acquire Chris Sale to be at the back of your rotation. Yeah. But there's that mental aspect of it that now consecutive years the Braves have lost to the Phillies, and we saw the Phillies lose in the NLCS last year, and then the year before that lost in the NLDS.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think the Phillies are going to be more along the lines of around
year before that. You're referring to the Braves as okay. Never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the Phillies, I see more of a 97-win team this year. I think this is the year they're going to really take a step forward, and I think the contract Zach Wheeler got is going to pay dividends. He's going to show why he deserved to be one of the highest paid. Braves, I have winning the division, but I am saying it now. I will not be one bit shocked if the Phillies win it this year because of the mental aspect with the Braves moving forward. They have the target on their back. They've had the target on their back and consecutive seasons ever since they won the World Series when they snuck in as a wild card. Mm-hmm. They have not been able to accomplish these things. And when you have the amount of talent in that lineup, from one of the best third basemen in Austin Riley, one of the best right fielders in Acuna, one of the best shortstops, this lineup is an amazing lineup. They should be getting 115 wins, but I think they're going to get.
What does this remind you of? What does this remind you of?
Of which team? What year?
Team you're talking about? What does this remind? If they keep doing this, if they keep The hell with the Dodgers. It's the Braves. What does this remind you of?
The Braves.
Yes, the Braves remind you again of the right. Thank you, sir.
Of the Braves.
The Braves will remind you of the '90s Braves.
Yeah, the 90s Braves. Yeah.
It's too early to put that on them, but
Glavine and
Glavine and Maddox.
Yeah,
unbelievable, man.
Incredible pitching, incredible teams. And that's what they have: incredible pitching, incredible teams.
Yeah.
They did it against Cleveland, and that was about it.
I'm going to hit with my final thought before we all get out of here tonight. Got to give a shout out to my mother today. Her and my stepdad Eddie celebrating their 31st anniversary. That's crazy. Blizzard of '93. So I mean, if Saquon was playing football back then, he would have got paid just like he got paid here because apparently it's okay. I'm just kidding. Snowed in, half the guest list could not get anywhere near where we were, which was in Queens. The Harp and Mandolin is actually a place that put us up.
Yeah.
If I had to take an honest guess, I would say maybe 40 people on a list that might have been in the closer to the 300 range. But they're a great example of what it's supposed to look like. Ups and downs. A lot of things in between. They're great. They're just great, on so many levels. Just amazing. And it's hard for me to believe that it's already been over 3 decades, 31 years to be exact. So happy anniversary, Eddie and Mom. Love you guys very much.
Man, Emmitt Smith signed his running back contract 31 years ago. When he was holding out those first few weeks.
Yeah.
That's why I made the 93 reference.
It's
to be sarcastic about the Saquon money.
Yeah, well, Saquon.
He came back, Dallas just zoop.
No, I'm just looking at it. Emmitt Smith signed a 4-year, $13.5 million contract back in '93, and we see Saquon getting a 3-year, 38? That could be 46.
He getting 13 in 1 year.
And to the listeners, I actually did send Jerry Jones an email because I showed a concern about this, and I said, Zappy's a big part of what we do here. He's on a lot of shows. I said, can you talk to the people over there and make sure that everything's going to be all right? Because we do shows all the time. He said, young man, you have nothing to worry about because we are going all in.
And it's still frustrating, but as a Cowboy fan, this is nothing new. Last year, we didn't sign a free agent the first week either. You know what we did instead? Week 2, we traded for Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cook.
Yes.
And then we signed a couple of no-name guys. Dallas is not going to – we don't do that anymore. We haven't signed a big name since Brandon Carr.
Mr. Zappy, who does this remind you of?
Who, the free agent thing?
What you're talking about with your particular team. Who does this remind you of?
NFL-wise? Oh, man.
No, not necessarily NFL-wise. Another franchise that has a hell of a lot of comparisons to you guys.
Oh, Green Bay Packers.
Not even.
The Yankees.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, you're talking baseball.
Yeah. Because if George Steinbrenner was alive still, and his Cy Young award-winning pitcher was going to miss 2 months, we'd still be over here worrying about if we were going to get either Snell or Monty. Yeah. Steinbrenner was such a maniac, he might have brought both of them in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's why I know it's not Jerry, it's Steven. Because the Jerry would have done it a lot. He would have already paid Dak. He would have restructured Terrence Steele and Trayvon, and he would have gone out there and got DT, linebacker, everything.
And you know what else he would have done? He would have put a big old Nike flag right in the middle of the stadium.
And he'd also still be having to do a paternity test.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And on that note, for all the good swimmers out there, Michael Zappi, Idris Salam, Richie Hicks, thank you for watching us, and we will be back soon. Announcements to come. We have one more division left. We save the defending champions for last, so we're going to be featuring the Texas Rangers division, one that Zappy is going to be looking forward to speaking on, and we will continue to give you guys the goods on an ever-moving free agency period, and then you have the second wave, NFL draft around the corner, NBA playoffs, NHL, all around the corner in the playoffs. We out.